Am I the asshole? That's a question. That's a question I think about more and more these days. And it's rooted in something I thought about recently. This view that maybe what it really means to be a good person is to just be aware of how you're a bad person, which sounds either stupid or contradictory or overly simplistic. I don't know. But walk with me for a second on what I mean by that. What I'm starting to think is that being right, um, being good, isn't actually made up of doing things that are right, or knowing things, or having the right answer, or being or doing good acts, right, in that form. It's actually about knowing where you get it wrong, having the self awareness and the courage to identify those areas where you're wrong, where you're not doing it right, where you aren't being a good person. And what's at the essence of that belief is that none of us are inherently good people, or perfect people, obviously. We're all kind of struggling through this thing, trying to figure it out, and we all have our flaws. We all have our blind spots and our biases and our insecurities and our ego issues. We all have that. And what being a good person is just accepting that and acting accordingly. Trying to find those areas where those things pop up and lead you to break bad, to lead you to do things that you otherwise would say that's not what a good person would do. So being a good person actually means not being a good person and just being aware of it and trying to do your best, trying to make up for it as best you can. There's something profound in that gives me comfort, that makes me feel like, maybe that's what I've been missing all this time. But there's another part of it that makes me think, is that just me trying to make myself feel better? Is that true for everybody? Or maybe for most people, being a good person is actually just being a good person. It's not rooted in this negative of just figuring out where you're going wrong. It's actually just being good. Maybe for most people, the bar doesn't have to be that low. They don't have to just settle for finding where they're messing up. They can actually go just be a good person. Not that they don't mess up, but it's almost as if for me sometimes it's like swimming against the tide. My natural inclination, the gravitational pull of my own ego, or whatever you want to call it, of who I am, pulls me towards the negative, pulls me towards not always thinking the right things, doing the right things, taking the right actions, being considerate of others the way I should be. And the way I've reconciled that in my brain is to say, that's okay, that's being human. The real noble thing, the virtue in how I live, because I want to believe I'm a virtuous, noble person, is that I fight against that. I swim against that tide, and I do the work, and I take the actions that allow me to try and be more like a good person. I account for the fact that I'm being pulled in the wrong direction, and I'm aware of it. And I don't let that guide me. I don't let that direct me. Maybe earlier in my life I did, but now I catch that and I pull myself back the other way. And again, maybe there's good in that. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's life. Maybe that's what winning at life or being a good person is. Or maybe it just means I'm an asshole. Maybe the fact that it's so hard for me, maybe the fact that I need to catch myself constantly, maybe the fact that I need to pull myself back is just representative of the fact of like, you're just a shitty person. It shouldn't be that hard for you. It shouldn't be that much work for you to try and be the husband or the father or the friend or the son or the coworker that you think you're supposed to be. That shouldn't be that difficult. You shouldn't have inclinations to say like, oh, I would be happier if, I had this, and not in a materialistic way, but I wish I could be more selfish, or I wish I could do more of the things that just bring me joy and pleasure. Maybe that's just me being an asshole. And I honestly don't know. I mean, my inclination, and this is biased and self-serving, is to believe that that's everybody. We all wish we could just have what we want. We all wish we could just be as selfish as we want to be. But again, being a grown-up, being mature, being a good person is accepting that you can't and just considering other people. But maybe not. Maybe there's people out there who genuinely don't have that sensation. They don't get gratification. They don't get joy or happiness or pleasure in being selfish. They genuinely get their joy and pleasure and happiness from doing the quote unquote right thing, from being a good person, from being considerate of others, and actually want to help other people. I don't know. I mean, I certainly don't want to hurt other people and see them in pain, but I also want what I want. And maybe that makes me an asshole. Or maybe the fact that I'm willing to admit that that might make me an asshole makes me a good person. Or maybe not. I don't fucking know.